I didn't start AI Dive because the world needed another AI publication. The world already has plenty of those.
Mhm.
Every day there are new model announcements, new benchmarks, new startups, new funding rounds, new product launches, new predictions, new hot takes. Most of those stories are interesting. Some of them are important. But increasingly, I found myself drawn to a different set of questions. Questions that rarely fit neatly into a news cycle. Questions about systems, questions about incentives, questions about infrastructure, questions about second order effects. Because the most important impact of artificial intelligence often isn't what the technology does directly, it's what the technology changes indirectly. Search is a good example. Most people think AI changed search when ChatGPT arrived. I don't. I think AI changed search when people stopped clicking, when answers started replacing links, when recommendations started replacing retrieval, when visibility became less about being found and more about being selected. That's a very different story. And it's the kind of story AI Dive was built to explore. The publication exists because I believe we're entering a machine mediated economy, an environment where artificial intelligence increasingly influences what people discover, what they trust, what they buy, who they hire, what they believe, and ultimately what they choose. Most people see the interface. I want to understand the infrastructure. What happens when AI becomes a recommendation layer? What happens when AI becomes a trust layer? What happens when AI becomes a distribution layer? What happens when AI becomes a decision layer? Those questions cut across industry. They're not just technology questions, they're business questions, media questions, economic questions, legal questions, political questions, human questions. That's why the topics inside AI Dive vary so widely. One week, the subject might be Reddit. The next week, it might be government AP is. The next week, AI agents. The next week, local service marketplaces. The next week, authority systems. The next week, memory architecture. At first glance, those topics seem unrelated. I don't think they are. I think they're all manifestations of the same transition, a world increasingly shaped by machine interpretation. Take a look through the archive and you'll notice a pattern. The agent internet, the memory problem, Reddit brain, restricted category AI surface control, beyond SEO, the deference threshold, architects of intelligence, beyond Claude. These aren't articles about AI products. They're investigations into the systems surrounding AI, the systems that determine what gets surfaced, what gets trusted, what gets cited, what gets recommended, and increasingly what gets remembered. The publication is also intentionally numbered, not because numbering is clever, because it creates continuity. Each dive becomes part of a larger body of work, an ongoing investigation and a living archive, a map of a transition that is happening in real time. Many of the ideas explored in AI Dive eventually connect back to a single observation. Artificial intelligence is becoming an intermediary, not necessarily replacing people, not necessarily replacing institutions, but increasingly sitting between them, between businesses and customers, between creators and audiences, between experts and learners, between information and decisions. And whenever an intermediary appears, incentives change. Power shifts, new opportunities emerge, old assumptions break. That's where I prefer to spend my time. Not asking what happened this week, asking what this week means 5 years from now. Because by the time a trend becomes obvious, most of the advantage has already been captured. AI Dive exists to study those shifts before they become consensus, to examine the infrastructure beneath the headlines, to follow second order effects instead of first order reactions, to understand how AI is changing not just technology, but markets, institutions, trust, authority, memory, visibility, and human behavior itself. That's the mission. Not AI news, not AI hype, not AI commentary, market intelligence for the machine mediated economy. I'm Jason Todd Wade, and this is AI Dive about AI Dive. AI Dive is a numbered intelligence publication written by Jason Todd Wade, founder of BackTier and Ninja AI. Each dive explores how artificial intelligence, search, Agents, platforms, markets, and institutions are reshaping discovery, trust, recommendation, authority, and economic advantage. The publication focuses on the layer most people miss, the systems behind machine mediated decisions. Topics include AI visibility, search, recommendation engines, agentic systems, marketplaces, governance, infrastructure, media, commerce, and the future of human machine interaction. New dives are published regularly at aidive.online. About Jason Todd Wade. Jason Todd Wade is an AI visibility architect, founder of BackTier and Ninja AI, and publisher of AI Dive. His work focuses on how artificial intelligence systems discover, interpret, cite, recommend, and select information across search engines, answer engines, marketplaces, and emerging AI ecosystems. He writes extensively about AI visibility, entity architecture, recommendation systems, machine mediated trust, and the economic consequences of AI driven discovery. Born in Gainesville, Florida in 1974, Wade's research sits at the intersection of technology, search, media, commerce, and artificial intelligence.